And so this married woman, now that she is married, now that she is with her husband, her single friends are asking her, was it worth the wait? I mean, you were chaste when you got married. You didn't date around, play around. She's already told us that her body is a private garden, not a public park. And her single friends are asking her, is it worth it? Was it worth the wait? Here's what she says. I adjure you, verse 4, O daughters of Jerusalem, that you do not stir up or awaken love until it pleases. She reassures her friend, yes, God's way is the right way. Don't date someone that's not a Christian. Don't live with someone before you're married. Don't sleep with people before you are married. Because here's what happens with unmarried singles. They tend to settle. They tend to settle. They sort of start with God's vision and plan for chastity and purity and marriage and family. And then at some point, they sort of give up. They say, well, that person could fog a mirror. Good enough. That's what I'm looking for. Some of you who are at Mars Hill and are unmarried and single, you find this series woefully depressing. Every week is more things you can't do. Like, that would be awesome, but not for me. Okay? And the question is, are you feeling pressure to settle? Are you feeling pressure to say, yeah, the Christian guys don't ask me out, but the non-Christian guys do, so I'm going to go out with them. Nobody's asked me to marry them, but some guy says he'll sleep with me. Good enough. Well, you know, she's a nice gal. I don't intend to marry her. I'm lonely, I'm bored. I don't know who I want to marry. Maybe I'll just move in with that gal for a while, and ultimately, it'll just be something to kill time until I meet the one I love. This culture has massive pressure on those of you who are unmarried to settle. I mean, you remember the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin? What kind of movie was that? Was that a nice biography, like ones we do on Martin Luther King Jr. or JFK or Gandhi? Was it that kind of biography, like, here's an exemplary life that you should emulate? Here's a noble person that you should aspire to follow in their example? No, The 40-Year-Old Virgin was a comedy. Because in this culture, it's not a virtue to be chaste and single like Jesus. It's a joke. It's a joke. And there's lots of pressure to not be the butt of the joke. To not be the butt of the joke. So her girlfriends are asking her, now that you're married, is it worth it? Should we settle? We're tired of being the joke. What she says is, do not arouse or awaken love until it's time. That time is marriage. She's saying is your desires are great for companionship, for pleasure, for connection, for covenant. Those are great desires. Don't kill them, but don't allow them to lead you into sin. Channel your desires toward walking with God faithfully, one day being married, loving your spouse. Set that on your horizon as your goal. And if someone or something doesn't appropriate themselves toward that goal, then don't waste your time. Don't sin. Don't settle. Don't settle. I really am concerned for those of you who are unmarried, that you can have such an innate pressure that maybe even comes from being at a church like Mars Hill, where we're all about getting married. And we are. We love marriage. We love kids. We love families. We totally do. Some of you may feel the pressure to get married prematurely, and rather than marrying the right person at the right time in the right way, to sort of settle or rush it so that you don't feel like the oddball. Let me just make this very clear. We do want to encourage people to act biblically. We want to encourage people to remain pure and chaste before marriage. We want to encourage people that marriage is a good thing and that 90+% of people do marry. And if you are going to marry, we want you to marry the right person at the right time in the right way. And we want you to have a good life and not be a devastating statistic. But if you felt any pressure through this series from me or us, that somehow you're lesser than or you are second-class citizen because you are unmarried, I apologize, and I would ask you to not give in to our pressure or the culture's pressure, but to take the counsel we give to walk through the culture and to not settle or sin. To not settle or sin. For some of you, that means you do need to pick up the pace. I was teaching at a conference this week. This couple came up. True story. I said, how long have you guys been together? He says, we've been dating for 9 years. 9 years. You can't even be president for 9 years. You got to hurry up. I looked at her. I was like, 9 years? Yes, he's very slow. You think? 9 years. Wow. Yeah, that guy needs a little pressure. All right. Some of you need to pick up the pace. Some of you need to give yourself permission to not feel forced into a relationship, feel unduly pressured toward marriage, feel that pressure to settle. And that's what the friends are asking her. Is it worth it? And she says, it totally is. But don't arouse or awaken love. Don't date around. Don't sleep around. Don't cohabitate. Don't get hooked up with people that you shouldn't. Save your desires for the right person at the right time.